My daughter was a jinx. The first word she ever spoke as a toddler was die. No one took it seriously at the time. But the very next day, her grandpa was hit by a truck and killed. When my daughter started kindergarten, her second sentence was, "The snow by the door is red." Her grandma went downstairs for a walk and was instantly killed by a flower pot, falling from an upstairs window. Blood spilled everywhere, painting the white snow crimson. My husband was distraught. He wanted to get rid of our daughter. My daughter then uttered her third sentence, "Daddy, watch out for cars." My husband was terrified, not daring to step out of the house. But he tripped on a toy car in the living room, suffered a brain hemorrhage and died on the spot. I cried, begging my daughter to shut up, to stop cursing her own family. But her expression remained cold, devoid of any remorse. "Mommy, don't go near fire." I completely broke down on Christmas Eve. I climbed onto the rooftop. I didn't want to burn to death, so I chose my own way to die. But as I jumped, someone below was setting off fireworks. The brilliant fireworks exploded, hitting me, and I plummeted to my death. Amidst the shocked screams of onlookers, my daughter stood on the rooftop watching me, her face utterly expressionless. Even in death, I couldn't understand why the daughter I had cared for so meticulously would curse our entire family. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day my daughter first learned to speak. This time, I finally understood what was going on with my daughter's jinx. The moment I opened my eyes, I saw my 1-year-old daughter pointing at her grandpa and saying, "Die." At first, no one reacted. Grandpa was still affectionately teasing her. "What is my sweet little Lily saying? Call me Grandpa and Grandpa will give you candy." But Lily's small face remained cold and she repeated, "Die." A wave of fear and anger surged through me. I quickly clapped my hand over her mouth. "Don't say that word. How can you wish for Grandpa to die?" Lily struggled, muffled by my hand, and began to wail, her face turning red from holding her breath. My father-in-law Arthur quickly intervened. "She's just learning to talk, Sarah. Why are you getting so upset?" I pressed my lips together, my body trembling uncontrollably. "She's cursing you." Arthur paused, then laughed. "What are you talking about? She's so young. How could she possibly know what die means?" I didn't know how to explain, so I could only tell Arthur to be careful when he went out these days, especially to watch out for cars on the road. Arthur said he understood, but he didn't take it seriously at all. I repeated the warning to my husband, David, who also laughed at me, saying I was overreacting. He looked at Lily, tenderly saying our daughter was anything but a jinx, even tried to comfort me. "Sarah, are you having postpartum anxiety? Maybe you should take a break and let my parents take care of Lily for a while." A sudden chill ran through me. I immediately shook my head. No, absolutely not. What if Lily cursed someone else when I wasn't around? But a sliver of hope remained in my mind. What if the previous incidents were just accidents? I hadn't let Arthur leave the house for days, and I'd even put away all the toy cars. I was terrified of a repeat of what happened to David. In my previous memory, after a few days at home, Arthur got bored. "I'm just going for a walk in the garden downstairs. Don't you worry about it." I warned him repeatedly not to go anywhere near cars. But Arthur still had an accident. He missed a step while going down the stairs, tumbling all the way down. His head landed precisely on a protruding nail. Arthur died on the spot. When the ambulance arrived, they immediately called the funeral home. My mother-in-law, Martha, knelt beside Arthur, sobbing uncontrollably. How could this happen? But her usually kind husband was gone forever. Unable to hear her cries, David rushed back from work, his eyes immediately red with tears. He calmly contacted relatives and friends, preparing Arthur's funeral. I held my innocent daughter, overwhelmed by guilt and self-blame. But Lily remained perfectly innocent, as if nothing had happened. I pinched her cheek, making her look at me. "Lily, tell Mommy. Why did you say that word? Why did you have to curse Grandpa?" But my daughter couldn't answer. She cried even harder, distressed by my grip on her face. David heard her cries and quickly took her from me. He frowned, glaring at me. "This was just an accident. It has nothing to do with Lily." My nose stung. How I wished it had nothing to do with my daughter. But Arthur was dead. From then on, I stopped talking to my daughter and forbade everyone else from speaking to her. David incomprehensibly asked if I was having a mental breakdown, and Martha held Lily, condemning me. "Sarah, Arthur's death was just an accident. How can you blame a child?" Lily played with her plush toy, flashing me an innocent smile. But I couldn't help but shiver. I didn't know how to avoid my daughter's curses, so I could only warn my family members again and again. For these past few years, things had been quiet, and I had almost forgotten about the curse. Until that day, my daughter watched TV and spoke her second sentence. "The snow by the door is red." My heart pounded. I immediately rushed downstairs and swept the snow by the door clean. Now let's see how that curse can possibly come true. But David's urgent call came through. His voice was choked with tears. Get to the neighborhood entrance. My mom had an accident. My hands trembled as I locked Lily inside the house. When I sprinted to the entrance, I found Martha lying on the ground covered in blood. The bag of salt she just bought was scattered across the ground, glinting like fresh snow under the sun. My daughter's curse had come true again. Martha had been hit and killed by a car that ran a red light. But I was beyond caring about the driver's apologies. I couldn't let my daughter curse any more family members. Clutched the item in my pocket and turned back home. Lily sat like a statue watching TV. When she heard me call her name, she rigidly turned her head. Your grandma is dead. Don't you have anything to say? My daughter shook her head, neither crying nor making a fuss. But all I felt was a chill. Martha had lovingly raised her. And now the old woman was dead. And Lily felt nothing. I furiously grabbed her shoulders and demanded, what exactly do you want? Why do you have to curse your own family? Lily pouted, then started to cry. Mommy, you're hurting me. I froze for a moment, then released her. It was then that I felt a flicker of humanity from my daughter. Otherwise, I would have thought she truly was a demon come to claim our lives. Lily, promise me you'll never curse your family again, okay? But Lily's gaze went past me, looking behind me. David, his face pale and drawn from taking Martha to the funeral home, walked in. My daughter spoke again. Daddy, you also need to watch out for cars. I gasped, then became furious. I slapped her across the face. Why do you have to curse our family? Are you trying to kill Daddy and Mommy? Lily had never been hit by me before. She immediately covered her face and wailed uncontrollably. David was heartbroken. He scooped Lily up and roared at me. Sarah, can you please make things easier for me? What can a small child possibly do? A lump formed in my throat. Fine, if you don't believe me, then don't take it seriously. David grabbed a few clothes, preparing to drive out and buy a burial plot. But as he headed to the garage, I regretted it. Now that Arthur and Martha were gone, I didn't want David to die too. David must still have been angry. He didn't answer my calls at all. I called for half an hour before finally getting through. David's terrified voice came from the other end. I was wrong. Our daughter really is a jinx. My brakes failed. Sarah, hurry and save me. By the time I rushed there and got David to the hospital, the doctor told me he needed an amputation to save his life. I immediately agreed. As long as he was alive, that's all that mattered. But Lily showed no emotion when she saw her dad lying in the hospital bed. Her coldness even chilled David to the bone. I blamed her in my heart, thinking this child was selfish, only caring about herself, only crying for herself. I even secretly found a child psychologist for Lily. The doctor, however, said Lily was fine, and that we should simply interact with her less. Even doctors couldn't find anything wrong. So I thought of the occult. But all the psychics I consulted looked terrified of Lily, saying they couldn't help. After much deliberation, I decided to put that thing into Lily's water cup. That night, Lily indeed cried out in pain. I listened from the next room, tears streaming down my face with heartache. But I knew I had to do this. Otherwise next time it might be me who died. The next morning, I opened the door to Lily's room. The walls were covered with her scratch marks. She was scratching her own neck like a trapped animal, her eyes red, staring at me with hatred. I cried and hugged her. Forgive Mommy. Mommy didn't want to do this. After I gave her the silencing concoction, my daughter became mute. We had gone from a happy family to this. This was still much better than everyone dying. As in my previous memory, I worked diligently, wanting to take care of everyone in the family. But ever since David became disabled, his personality had grown strange. Every time I came home from work, I'd see his sullen face. If the food I cooked wasn't to his liking, he'd suddenly throw the utensils. Sarah, let's get a divorce. I was stunned for a long time, then frantically asked if I had done something wrong. He pointed at Lily and me, cursing. If it weren't for you two, my parents wouldn't be dead and I wouldn't be a cripple. I was consumed by guilt, begging him not to leave us, mother and daughter. I pulled Lily over, wanting her to apologize too, but Lily immediately shook off my hand and ran back to her room. I cried and hugged David. I only have you. Please don't leave us, okay? David was silent for a moment, then hugged me back, suppressing a low growl. Why? What did we ever do to her? I also didn't know why my daughter would curse us. What have we done wrong? Lily treated David and me like enemies, but I had forgotten one thing. She couldn't speak, but she could write. While cleaning Lily's room, I found her writings in a diary. Daddy and Mommy, don't go near fire. Watch out for burning to death. I clutched that piece of paper, feeling as if all my strength had drained away. I didn't understand why my daughter would curse us. My previous memory, even when she killed my whole family, I didn't blame her. Was it really karma from my previous life? Was she here to take revenge on me? David wheeled himself, and when he saw the diary in my hand, his face immediately turned white. Lily came home from school, Seeing us looking at her diary, she angrily snatched it and tore it up. David's face turned red with rage. He pointed at his legs and yelled, "Isn't it enough that you crippled me? What else do you want to do? Burn your own parents to death?" Lily looked at us with hatred, then pointed to her throat. My heart tightened and I guiltily said, "Lily, Mommy did it for the family's well-being." I had to nat. "Why are you explaining to her? You're right. She's a demon sent from heaven to torment us. If I could choose, I'd rather not have this daughter." Lily scoffed, turned and walked out the door. I worriedly wanted to chase after her, but David called me back. His hands tightly gripped the armrests of his wheelchair as he snarled, "How long do you plan to indulge her? Will you only be satisfied when she kills us all?" I stammered, lowering my head. "After all, she's our child. What can I do?" Cruel glint flashed in David's eyes. "Sarah, we can have other children, but this demon will kill us eventually." For some reason, my heart felt empty, a sharp ache. David continued, "I've secretly asked a psychic, and there's only one way to break the curse." David swallowed hard. "That is to give the curse back to her." I almost lost my balance, directly knocking over the glass of water on the table. The clatter startled me. I instinctively objected. "This is our daughter. How could I burn her alive?" David grabbed my hand soothingly. "Sarah, do you want her to kill you? Even if she kills our whole family, fine. But what if she goes out into society and harms others?" This made me hesitate. I didn't know if my daughter was truly a legendary sociopath. I didn't even know how she was cursing us. But I didn't want more innocent people to die because of her. Finally, I reluctantly agreed to David's suggestion. After Lily returned, I gave her a sleeping pill. I quietly turned on the gas stove in the kitchen and sealed all the doors and windows. David was in the room packing suitcases, his face unable to hide his joy. We finally don't have to live in fear anymore. I forced a smile and helped him pack, until I saw a family photo. I froze on the spot, trembling violently. I understood. I finally understood why my daughter cursed our entire family. The photo was old, taken on Lily's first birthday. We were all there: Arthur, Martha, David, me, and Lily. But as I stared at it, my blood ran cold. In the picture, Arthur was holding a cigarette. Martha was holding a lighter. David was standing next to a toy car that looked exactly like the one he tripped on in my previous life. But it wasn't the objects that terrified me. It was the shadows. Behind Arthur, there was a faint, blurry shape of a truck. Behind Martha, a strange distortion near the window that looked like a falling object. And behind David, a car crash. I dropped the photo frame. The glass shattered, the sound echoing like a gunshot in the silent house. I scrambled to find other photos. Lily's second birthday, Christmas, the beach trip. In every single photo, wherever Lily was looking, there was a faint, almost imperceptible shadow of death looming over the person she was focused on. She wasn't cursing us. She was warning us. "Die," she had said to Arthur. She wasn't commanding him. She was pointing at the shadow behind him. She was a baby. She didn't have the vocabulary to say, "Grandpa, there is a specter of death following you." She just saw death. So she said, "Die. The snow is red." She saw the future bloodshed. She was trying to tell us, "Daddy, watch out for cars." She saw the accident. And in her diary, "Daddy and Mommy, don't go near fire." She wasn't threatening us. She was trying to save us from this exact moment. She knew. She knew David and I were planning to burn the house down. She saw the fire in our future. And she tried to warn us, even after I had poisoned her voice, even after we treated her like a monster. I screamed. It was a raw, guttural sound that tore through my throat. "Sarah?" David wheeled himself out of the bedroom, frowning. "What's wrong? Is the gas on? We need to leave before." "Turn it off," I shrieked, scrambling toward the kitchen. "Turn it off, David. We're wrong. We're so wrong. What are you doing?" David grabbed my arm, his grip bruising. "Have you lost your mind?" We agreed. "She's not a jinx," I sobbed, trying to shake him off. "She's a seer, David. She sees death. She was trying to warn us. She wrote about the fire because we are the ones starting it." David's face twisted. He didn't look relieved. He didn't look horrified at his mistake. He looked annoyed. "It doesn't matter," he hissed, his eyes cold and dead. "It doesn't matter, Sarah. She's a freak. Do you want to live with a freak for the rest of your life? A girl who sees ghosts? Who knows when you're going to die?" I froze. I looked at the man I had loved for years. The man I had saved from death by sacrificing my daughter's voice. "You," I whispered. "You don't care." "I care about us," David roared. "I care about being normal. Look at me. Look at my legs. Because of her, I'm half a man. If she dies, maybe the bad luck goes with her. Maybe I can get my life back." He wasn't acting out of fear. He was acting out of hatred. He hated Lily not because she was dangerous, but because she was the scapegoat for his misery. "No," I said, backing away. "I won't let you." I ran toward Lily's room. Sarah! David yelled, wheeling furiously after me. I burst into her room. Lily was lying on her bed, her small body curled into a ball. The sleeping pill had worked. She was deep under. I scooped her up. She was heavy, so much heavier than when she was a baby. Her head lolled against my shoulder. I'm sorry, I whispered into her hair. I'm so sorry. I smelled gas. It was strong now. The kitchen was just down the hall. I turned to the door, but David was there. He had blocked the doorway with his wheelchair. He held a lighter in his hand. Put her back, he said calmly. Move, David. I said put her back. We walk out of here together, or nobody walks out. He flicked the lighter. A small flame danced in the dim hallway. The gas concentration isn't high enough yet to explode, he said, his voice terrifyingly rational. But give it 5 minutes. If you don't put her down, I'll light this whole place up right now and we all go together. I looked at the lighter. Then I looked at the window. We were on the 2nd floor. Lily said watch out for fire. I said, clutching my daughter tighter. She didn't say who would burn. I didn't run toward him. I ran toward the window. Sada, no. I smashed the glass with a heavy lamp and climbed onto the sill. The cold night air hit my face. Below, the garden looked dark and unforgiving. You're crazy, David screamed, wheeling toward me. I love you, Lily, I whispered. I jumped. I woke up to pain. White hot, searing pain in my legs and back. But I was alive. I was lying in a bush. The dense shrubbery had broken my fall. I looked down. Lily was in my arms, shielded by my body. She stirred, groaning softly. Mommy? Her voice was a raspy croak. The medicine I gave her to destroy her voice. It hadn't been permanent. Or maybe the shock had brought it back. I'm here, baby. I'm here. Boom. The explosion above us shook the ground. I looked up. Our house was a fireball. The 2nd floor window I had just jumped from was spewing orange flames. David. I watched as the roof collapsed inward. I didn't feel sadness. I felt a hollow, terrifying relief. Sirens wailed in the distance. I tried to stand, but my left leg screamed in protest. Broken. Definitely broken. Lily. I gritted my teeth. We have to go. Can you walk? Lily looked at the burning house. Her eyes reflected the flames. She didn't cry. She just nodded. She helped me up. I leaned on her small shoulder, and we limped away into the darkness. Away from the sirens, away from the life we had known. We didn't go to the hospital. I was afraid. Afraid they would ask questions. Afraid they would blame Lily. Afraid David had survived and would tell them I was crazy. We went to a motel 3 towns over. I set my own leg with a makeshift splint made from a towel and duct tape, biting down on a leather belt to keep from screaming. Lily watched me the whole time, her eyes wide and unblinking. Does it hurt? She asked, her voice scratchy. Yes, I gasped. But pain means we're alive. Lily walked over to me. She placed a small hand on my forehead. Mommy, she said. The black shadow is gone. I broke down sobbing. I hugged her, burying my face in her chest. I'm sorry I poisoned you. I'm sorry I slapped you. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. Lily patted my hair awkwardly. It's okay. I knew. You knew. I knew Daddy wanted to burn me. I saw the fire on him a long time ago. I pulled back. You saw the fire on David? Yes. Since he bought the lighter. Why didn't you run? Lily looked at me with eyes far too old for her age. Because you didn't have a shadow yet. If I left, the shadow might come to you. She stayed to protect me. She let us abuse her, silence her, and vilify her, all because she was keeping watch over my soul. Years passed. We moved to a different state. I changed our names. I was now Mary, and she was Rose. Life wasn't easy. I worked double shifts as a waitress. My leg never healed properly, so I walked with a limp. Rose went to school. She was quiet, a loner. I told her never to speak about what she saw. If you see a shadow, I told her, just tell me. Don't tell anyone else. She obeyed. But the gift or the curse didn't stop. One day, she came home from school pale and trembling. Mom, she whispered. My teacher, Mr. Henderson. He has a shadow. A big one. What kind? Water. Dark water. I hesitated. Mr. Henderson was a kind man. He had helped Rose with her math when she fell behind. We can't interfere, Rose, I said. People don't understand. But he has a daughter, Rose said. She's in my class. If he dies. I looked at my daughter. She had grown into a beautiful, solemn teenager. She had every reason to hate the world, but she still wanted to save it. Okay, I said. Write an anonymous note. Put it on his desk. She did. Stay away from the lake this weekend. On Monday, Mr. Henderson came to class looking shaken. He told the students that he had canceled his fishing trip because of a strange feeling. Later, he heard on the news that a freak flash flood had decimated the exact spot where he camped every year. He looked at Rose during class. He didn't know it was her note, but he smiled at the class. Someone looked out for me, he said. Rose came home smiling. It was the first time I had seen her smile in years. We started doing it more. Small warnings. Anonymous tips. We saved a neighbor from a gas leak. We saved a stray dog from traffic. We were guardians in the shadows. But the shadows noticed us back. One night, Rose woke up screaming. I rushed into her room. What is it? What did you see? She was clutching her chest, gasping for air. Not me, she choked out. You. I froze. Me. She looked at me. Tears streaming down her face. Mom, you have a shadow. What kind? She shook her head, sobbing. I can't see it clearly. It's like a man. A man with no face. I felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. Is it David? We hadn't heard from him in 10 years. The police report said no bodies were found in the fire, but he was presumed dead. I had hoped, prayed, that he had burned. I don't know, Rose whispered. But he's coming. Soon. I bought a gun. I taught Rose how to shoot. We moved again, to a cabin in the woods. Isolated. Defensible. If David was alive, if he had survived the fire, he would be looking for us. Not out of love. Out of spite. He was a man who blamed the world for his misfortunes. And we were the ultimate symbols of his ruin. A week later, the shadow arrived. It was a stormy night, just like the night I jumped. The wind howled through the trees. Rose was sitting by the window, staring into the dark. He's here, she said calmly. I cocked the gun. Where? The front door. A knock. 3 slow, deliberate raps. I aimed the gun at the door. Go away. I yelled. I'm armed. Sarah. A voice called out. It was rough, raspy, damaged by smoke, but unmistakable. Open the door, Sarah. It's cold out here. David. I missed you, he said. And our little demon. Go to hell. I've been there, he laughed, a dry hacking sound. I survived the fire, Sarah. I crawled out. My skin melted, but I crawled out. Do you know what kept me going? The thought of finding you. Leave us alone. I can't do that. You see, I realized something. Lily, she's valuable. I met some people. People who would pay a lot of money for a girl who can see the future. Stocks. Lotteries. Assassinations. She's a gold mine, Sarah. I fired a warning shot through the door. Wood splintered. Now that wasn't nice, David said. Suddenly, the window behind me shattered. I spun around. A man in black tactical gear climbed in. He wasn't David. David had hired help. I shot him. He fell. But another came through the back door. And another. They overpowered me. They dragged me to the center of the room. David wheeled himself in. He was in a motorized wheelchair now. His face was a mask of burned scars, unrecognizable except for the hateful eyes. Hello, wife, he sneered. He looked at Rose, who was standing in the corner holding a knife. She looked terrified, but her eyes were fixed on something above David's head. Hello, Daddy, she said softly. David laughed. Don't daddy me. You're coming with us. You're going to make me rich. No, Rose said. What? I said no. You're not going to take me. And who's going to stop me? Your cripple mother? David gestured to where I was pinned on the floor. Rose smiled. It was a cold, eerie smile. You don't understand, Daddy. I don't just see death anymore. She dropped the knife. I can call it. David frowned. What are you talking about? Rose raised her hand and pointed a finger at him. D. The word hung in the air, heavy and absolute. For a second, nothing happened. David started to laugh. You think you're a witch now? You think. He stopped. His eyes widened. He grabbed his chest. The men holding me looked around, confused. Boss. One of them asked. David gasped, his face turning purple. He clawed at his throat. It looked like a heart attack. Massive. Instant. He slumped forward in his wheelchair, dead before he hit the floor. The mercenaries froze. They looked at the dead man, then at the teenage girl standing calmly in the corner. Leave, Rose said, or I speak again. They didn't wait to find out if it was a trick. They ran. They scrambled out of the cabin, tripping over each other in their haste to get away from the monster. I lay on the floor, staring at my daughter. She walked over to me and helped me up. Rose. I whispered. Did you kill him? She looked at David's body. No. Mom. I didn't kill him. But you said. I saw his shadow, she explained. It was huge. It was right on top of him. His heart was already giving out. The climb up the hill, the excitement. He was dying anyway. I just timed it. She smiled a small, tired smile. I lied to scare the bad men. I laughed. I laughed until I cried. I hugged her tight. You are brilliant, I said. My brilliant, wonderful girl. We buried David in the woods. No prayers. No marquer. Just a hole in the ground. We live quietly now. Rose is in college. She's studying medicine. She says if she can see death coming, maybe she can learn how to fight it with science, not just warnings. Sometimes, she still wakes up with nightmares. Sometimes I still reach for my gun when the wind blows. But we are free. The curse wasn't the jinx. The curse was the fear. And we aren't afraid anymore. One day, Rose came home with a boyfriend. A nice boy named Michael. I pulled her aside. Does he? No shadow, Rose smiled. He's got a long, boring life ahead of him. Good, I said. Boring is good. I watched them sit on the porch, holding hands. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the yard. For the first time in my life, the shadows looked just like shadows. Just darkness caused by light, nothing more. My daughter isn't a jinx. She's a lighthouse. And we made it to shore.